Okay, we're waiting for the members to join. Mm-mm. Oh, yeah. Oh, nice. June. Good morning.
And how are you?
All is well. Just give us 1 second. Okay. Okay, I see another executive board member. I'm going to admit the board members. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we have a lot of people, and I know. Okay, I'm just gonna admit everyone. Just wait for. Okay, so please help me admit everyone into the meeting. I'm gonna be extremely busy uh, with sharing the meeting. Okay, let me just share slides. All right. You guys able to see my slides?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I do believe we have a quorum. Can you, Randy, Josephine, Erica, just double check that we do actually have quorum? I see like 20 people, but it has to be executive board members and also CPAC members. Um, And also help me admit everyone is popping up in my screen.
Rosa, are we co-hosts? I don't think I'm a co-host yet.
I thought I did. 1 second. Oh, where did my screen? Apologies. I gave to Wendy. I see you, Ashley. And I did to Erica. Okay, we are good. Let me. Okay. Okay. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Thank you so much. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the January 2025 CPAC meeting. This is your executive board meeting for the rest of the year of 2025. Welcome, everyone. We are going to start with CPAC procedures and standing rules. And I know it's a lot. And we are going to have Erica provide a brief summary of the CPAC rules. Whenever you're ready, Erica, take it away.
Hi, good morning and welcome everyone. This is our quick summary and thank you all for being here. Again, as always, if there is anything that you would like to contribute and be recognized, please raise your hand. Be an active listener and stay engaged. Be respectful, kind, and professional. And please remember that there is only one mic at a time. Also, please do not unmute yourself unless you are requested to do so. We ask that there's no side conversations in the chat for those who have access to the chat. No disrespect, which of course we're all always respectful to each other and our opinions. No follow-up questions. Once your question, we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to ask a question and have their question answered. And if we'll give you a warning on the first infraction, you'll be muted for the rest of the meeting if there is any type of disrespect and the disrespect continues. And lastly, we will be removed from the current meeting. As we know, we don't have to worry about any of that, but we want to make sure, we always make sure that everyone feels safe to contribute, ask questions, and be able to participate. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much, Erica. Okay. Right now, we are going to call this meeting to order at second, not 9:38 a.m. And we are going to do roll call of the following members. And for that, we have Miss Randy. Randy, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Good morning, everyone. In the chat, it asks you to please rename yourself. Please put your district or borough in front of your name and fill out the attendance sheet. We're going to start with District 1. District 1.
Ashley here.
Okay. District 2.
Amanda Brown here.
Thank you. District 3.
Lauren here for District 3.
Thank you. District 4. District 5. District 6. District 7. District 8.
Good morning, Erica Newsom, present.
District 9. District 10. 11. 12.
Good morning, Christy Hughes here.
Good morning. 13. No, we don't have 13. 14.
Good morning, just well present.
Good morning. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20.
Here,
21.
Randy, oh, go ahead.
What happened?
No, District 7 is here.
Okay, I'll add them after. District 21. 22. 24.
24 present, Matthew Crescio.
Good morning, Matthew.
How you doing?
25.
Good morning. This is Rachel. I'm here.
Good morning, Rachel. 26.
Good morning. Here.
Good morning. 27. 28. 29.
Priscilla Montero here. I can't rename myself.
Okay, I'll rename you as soon as I'm done with the
Okay, thank you.
District 30. I think Becca was running late. 31.
It's a parody here.
32. 75. Brooklyn High School, I am here. Bronx High School. Manhattan High School.
I'm here, Rosa Diaz.
Queens High School.
Here. Shanette Walters.
Good morning, Shanette. Staten Island High
Hi,
School.
morning, guys.
I'm here. Staten Island's here. Pamela. Good morning.
Okay. So the only one I missed was 7. Anyone else come in after 7? Okay, I'll turn the floor back over to you, Rosa.
Thank you, Randy. For just in case, District 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 27, 28. District 32, District 75, Bronx High School. If you're here, please, please, please let us know. Raise your hand. Randy will take attendance and you'll be counted that you're here, you're present, and please be engaged. So for notice for all the districts and the boroughs president's council. As per CPAC bylaws, right, on the removal of members, CPAC Executive Board reserves the right to contact a district president's council if it has not been represented at 3 consecutive CPAC general membership meetings. Today is the third consecutive CPAC meeting for 2 districts. We will be reaching out and hopefully we'll have representation next month. With that being said, thank you, Randy, so much. I just wanted to put that for the record. And CPAC, we want to say huge congratulations to Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Christina. I cannot see everyone on my screen, but hopefully I see hopefully you see that we truly appreciate your leadership and congratulate you. This is your virtual roses, well deserved. Thank you so much. And please congratulate her, put it in the chat. And I'm not sure if she's here. Is she here, Randy?
Madam
I
Chair,
can only see you.
hi, Madam Chair. This is Jesse. She will be joining later on, but I'll definitely relay to her.
Oh, we'll do it again.
Yes. Thank you so much,
Let me
Madam
know.
Chair. Okay, we'll do.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to start with our meeting. And we have 2 changes to the agenda. And as you can see, the agenda items and times are subject to change based on the chancellor's availability, the presenters, her team. We might have to move things around. And what we are going to do right now is we have just a minor change from the Office of Student Enrollment to go at 10:30 and Unleash the Knowledge by the FLC District 21 to go at 10:10 instead. With that being said, we already did the roll call. We are doing the CPAC business. We're going to have a presentation by Youthful Savings Somia Munjal, which she's here present. We are going to have Assembly Member Anderson uplifting parent empowerment in our voice, which is very, very important. And two changes of Unleash the Knowledge first, and then the Office of Student Enrollment after. Then we're going to have the class size law at 10:50 by the Chief Operating Officer, Emma Badera. And we're having our Chancellor, Melissa Aviles Ramos, at 11:10. Then we'll have some face updates. We also have at 11:45, a resolution urging the Department of Education to implement a multi-year plan that will provide all New York City students with the benefit of smaller class sizes. And we'll have the December minutes at around 11:55. We did not receive the October minutes, which is very unfortunate. We are parent leaders, we are busy. I totally understand that. And we'll have the Ashley and Josephine, I'm volunteering Josephine, to do the October minutes for February. And then, if time permits, we'll have district and borough updates, and then we'll adjourn the meeting. And everything that we do, we'll continue to do in support of parent leadership. Oops, apologies. And we are going to head to our first presenter. Munjal, the floor is all yours.
Great. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Would it be okay if I share my screen? Am I allowed?
Yes.
I'm just going to send a request. You guys are a busy group, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Yep. Okay, great. Okay, guys, bear with me. You're going to see my email. But now hopefully you can see my screen. Yes. Okay, great. Guys, I'm so excited to be here. It has been over a decade of us building out what we have created called Youthful Savings, which is really about socioeconomic empowerment. I have known Rosa for about a year. We got an introduction through the Public Advocate's Office, and she is an exceptional leader. And when I saw her impactful conversation with Chalkbeat about what it would look like to make sure that students that need money get paid, I reached out and I want to really explain how that's exactly what we do. We really make sure that young people get socioeconomic empowerment and real cash in their pockets. And we're really hoping to work with every single school, every single youth as we grow. We are based in the great city of New York. We're a local business. We're an MWBE as well. So for us, we're really dedicated to recreating a better world economy. The youth population is 41%. We see so much success in the New York City youth. They are the leaders. We believe we work in other areas of the world as well, but New York kids are really doing the best. And we really believe something needs to change. Unfortunately, on December 4th, I was the victim of violence by two 14-year-olds that mugged me, dropped me to the ground, and stole about $2,000 worth of stuff that I had on me, including my bag, my phone, everything. And I know what that feels like. And I also know that we are a solution to that. And we need after school programming, honestly. I have been advocating this for a year. It got started in DC. I knew that the top wasn't doing what it needed to do to fix the bottom economic issues. And now I just have a bigger story here to share. And I just want to make sure that the schools are really creating change beyond just education. There has to be character development and real economic opportunities. And I would be honored to see New York City really leading the change. There's 3.3 billion young people. We need to give them access to the economic system, but also tie it to character development. There's no reason. There's plenty of money on this planet. If we can just redistribute the cash correctly and provide access to real opportunities, we hope change can happen. And I don't want 14-year-olds to be beating me up on the streets. Also, I try to reach out to the superintendents, District 33, and I can't even get a hold of what school he went to. So we're not making it easy to actually provide resources. I call New York City probation every single day so that I can help this young human with our resources. And we just are not getting the kind of support we need. So we hope that parents can really advocate for change. None of us are safe, quite frankly. This is what we really are. So we are a company that has an ed tech. We made the ed tech be direct to youth. I'll give you guys a quick sample of it. It's called Learning Marketplace. We want young people to be excited about education. The most popular custom program on Learning Marketplace is Youth Entrepreneurship for a More Inclusive Global Economy. Back in 2020, we realized that young people needed communities. So we created a youth e-commerce platform called Youthful Savings Marketplace. That means young people can get real businesses started, start making money. And then we also have a physical store for our e-commerce platform in California. So if young people start a business, our foundation buys the products, AKA gives the cash to kids, and then they learn how to build and ship those products to our store in Santa Monica. It's completely innovative. It's not virtual enterprise. It's not nifty. It's real business, real money going to the kids. It's them learning business, finance, and tech skills at a young age. And we've seen an increase of at least 85% in young people that really stay engaged. More importantly, 98% of young people that participate in our programming recommend it to other youth. I have over 3,000 youth on a private Slack channel that are incredibly engaged and doing real things and talking about real things and are becoming leaders. We also have a foundation. We built something called a community investment fund. And so what that does is it issues prepaid cards to young people for capital. So say if you started a t-shirt business and you needed $100, our foundation drops that money. We can see on the back end how it's being spent. We don't need your social security number. And then you learn how to sell and make earned income. We're also supported by a CPA firm. I'm actually a CPA that then helps you create a profitable business. What's really, really unique about us is as young people buy and sell on the Youthful Savings Marketplace, 10% goes back to the foundation. That same foundation issues you that prepaid card. We effectively take you off the debt economy. You don't need to go to a bank. We don't need your social security number. The young people, as they buy and sell, are creating their own financing system that is incredibly unique. And that's what we want access to as many youth as possible. We also understood a couple years ago that young people were very worried about how technology was going to affect them. So we created a platform called HireYouth.ai. And what that allows you to do is create a portfolio and start getting jobs at a young age. Our unique product offering is a learn and earn model. So you learn on the ed tech and then you earn through the e-commerce platform and also through the foundation. So this is just a quick overview. I'll walk you through the platforms, but you've got the ed tech, very innovative, new courses coming out all the time, Bitcoin, NFTs, vertical farming, entrepreneurship, financial literacy. It's real education that provide real opportunities. And then you've got this amazing Etsy for youth, we'll call it, but even if you're under the age of 18, because we underwrite all of the sales, the young people get money. So they can either get it through a PayPal if they do it with their family, or we can give you a prepaid card and drop the cash to you. I'd love to give you a testimonial. This is Jose Santana. He was actually recently talked about in a Brookings article. I'll drop it in the chat. But he was going to drop out of his Bronx high school back in 2022. We found him through the Summer Youth Employment Program. He stayed with us. We did dinners in Manhattan. He met CUNY. Now he's going to college. He started 2 businesses on our e-commerce platform. He started receiving capital. Now he works with us as a technology specialist. And what's unique is now that he's over the age of 18, we've given him $5,000 to $10,000 in social impact money as a term sheet, so that he can start his first real business now that he started an art business, he started a website business. Now he's going to start a social impact business that solves a problem. It's a health coaching business, and he's also teaching on our platform. So this is what can happen when we get access to young people, and he's a huge advocate. And when we get ignored, we always copy in Jose, and he talks about how much Youthful Savings has changed his life. And I'll make sure to drop the Brookings article about the change that he's creating. And again, we give youth money, right? So they earn money, but they also get capital. And that comes from the technology that we partner with UCO and MasterCard. So we don't need your social security number. If you have people that are not, most young people or most people that are in this country want to do better, and we give you that helping hand. So that's what we're all about. And through that, we're able to create something called kind capitalism through bottom-up economics. There's a great white paper on our website that explains this a little bit more. And so I'll make sure to drop that in the chat as well. And again, we're a people, planet, profit business. We put 100% actually of our profits right back to our foundation. So like last year, we got a big contract with the DYCD. That's how we were able to make big term sheets for Jose and provide more capital. So we're all about that. So it's always about giving back. And so we're lucky enough to work right now with a couple districts, mostly because we had some funding from the district attorney office in Queens County. So I saw that the Assembly Member Anderson, his area, it was, first to jump on board. And we were also trying to work with District 20. We did do an event with them. And again, the issue is people don't respond back to emails. We also sponsor the superintendent meeting. They say yes, and then they don't respond back to emails. So I'm really hoping and praying that, if anybody that's here in the top at New York City Public Schools, we have real issues when I'm getting beat up by 14-year-olds. Please answer your emails. It's really frustrating. I don't get a paycheck all the time, so I respond back to emails right away. Like, I cannot run this business if I'm not responsive. And I really hope that our public and private partnerships can understand that as well. And that we have had a long-standing relationship with the Department of Youth and Community Development as a subcontractor with the established organization. So we work with Children's Aid, Catholic Charities, and Bronx Works to get access to youth. And what you'll see here is we're always doing events as well. So we're all about a hybrid format. We want to increase those tech skills, but we want to increase those people skills. So you'll see some young individuals that are all business owners. They're being featured back in October at MasterCard to talk about their business. And it was a huge opportunity for them to get growth. So we really believe the better the youth, the better the world. The youth that we get to impact are not violent. They're creating change. They're responsive people. They're learning character development. I mean, we are doing what we can to make the world a better place. And if we get access to the youth and they're a part of our community, we really believe the future will be brighter. So, we're really hoping that, we could just get access to more youth and get more advocacy to get us to grow. And what I'd love to do, if I can figure this out, is just make sure that I can share my screen and just show you guys a real quick demo of our ed tech. You guys can see the ed tech. Okay, so this is Learning Marketplace. It's meant to be direct to youth. We do something called flipped classroom methodology. So that means young people get assigned video learning and then worksheets inside the classroom. So we really want to help build, meet you where you're at. So a lot of young people like to learn through videos, but then they also can come inside classrooms and actually like learn and read and write through our ed tech. And again, what you'll see under live experiences is all of our programs. So we are working with Eagle Academy and Queens Preparatory Academy, and even doing some like events with Eagle Academy as well. We would love to bring this to your schools. We work in LA as well. So we're really, but the New York kids are the ones that really start the real businesses. And we do the app.
Soumya, sorry. I just wanted to know, like, do you have like 10 seconds left? Because we're like a little tight schedule.
Yes.
But all the information will be sent out to all the members.
Okay, perfect.
So they can also bring you to their respective districts.
Hopefully.
And yeah,
That's
of course,
cool.
of course.
Great. And that's our
Thank
e-commerce
you.
platform, Youthful Savings Marketplace. Thanks so much for having me. And if it's okay, I'll just drop our website into the chat and then my
Yes,
email. So you
please.
guys can respond back to me if you need anything. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing for our youth. And this is why everyone that is here is doing the same thing. We are non-pay volunteers. We have tons of knowledge to share with everyone, especially for parent leadership. We have to uplift parents because we know our children better. So
Absolutely. And if we can get inside schools, then parents don't have to pay. So that's the goal.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you so
much. Take
much.
care.
Thank you. And now we have Assembly Member Anderson. Feel free to unmute and share your slides. Thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. Is this Ms. Diaz? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
it is.
Okay, excellent. Good morning. I'm having some technical things here on my laptop, but I will get it together shortly and come on screen. Glad to see that you're looking and feeling much better. I know you were sick the last time we met, so I'm glad that you're up and at 'em, and grateful for that. So, for those who don't know who I am, I'm State Assembly Member Khalil Anderson. Again, I hope to have my camera on in a second. And I represent the 31st Assembly District in Southeast Queens. And that includes the neighborhoods of the Rockaways, Rosedale, Springfield Gardens, South Ozone Park, and JFK Airport in Queens. And so today I wanted to just drop by to give some brief remarks about parent involvement and how important it is to ensure that our parents are involved all throughout our children's education process. And then I wanted to shamelessly plug some legislation that I'm working on that will expand and increase parent involvement throughout our school system. There we go. I think I got it now. That would increase parent involvement throughout our school system here in the city of New York. So we have parents, and parents are a part, in my thinking, of a triangle where you are at the center of it, trying to educate and uplift a child, move them from one stage of their life to the next stage of their life, whether they're moving from elementary school to middle school, from high school to college. The purpose of the center of the triangle is to move the kids to the next stage. Then the parts of that triangle that help make it whole are the parents and support system, our school and education system, which includes teachers, faculty, principals, bodies like this. And then the third leg of the triangle is the community, that support that comes in. And so when you're looking at that, there are some deficiencies in how that triangle is constructed in terms of who has equal access to moving that child forward in their life. And that's why I've been working with Dr. Jackie Cody as well as Ms. Lorraine's Gittens Bridges, to figure out how to strengthen each side of that triangle. And in this
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I have to interrupt respectfully. We were told that you were here, Assemblyman Anderson, to talk about uplifting parent empowerment and voice. We are not having a presentation on the CLT. We haven't supported it, and we've heard that this has been being done throughout the city. So respectfully, if you're talking about uplifting parent empowerment and voice, it's great, but we are not, our executive board was not told about SCLT presentation. So if it can just be about uplifting parent voice and empowerment, we'd really appreciate that. And we can talk offline another time about another presentation.
Thank you so much, Randy. And so on the third leg of that triangle is really focused on the community aspect. And we also consider our parents, as I was getting ready to say, a part of the aspect that moves that child forward. And so when we're talking about parent involvement, it has to include giving parents a real seat and a real voice at the table, but also encouraging parents to be able to join their PTAs and ensure that they know the different boards and organizations that exist within the New York City public school system. As someone who's a former member of the CCSE, when I was a student in the public education system, I understand the value of having those bodies create access for all legs of the triangle to be working in that same direction. You're hearing from the impacted individual who's at the heart of it, the students. You're working with the faculty and the teachers, and then you're working with the community, and the parents are a part of the community. And so when I was a member of CCSE, I understood how important and imperative, it was to ensure that students had the seat at that table. That's the first piece. The second piece in regards to this is that there has to be, and we've been working on this both locally and on the state level, more involvement within the PTAs, but also those PTAs through the SLTs, which are the school leadership teams, must feel empowered in terms of how resources are delegated through the school or allocated, excuse me, through the school, and what supports are available as it relates to working through some of what parent organizations need to develop. And so those are things that system-wide need to improve. Uh, Again, not talking about my particular piece of legislation, but just talking about some of the issues that exist in the system and how our parents have overcome them. I have a large District 75 school network, and I'm using this as an example on how this has been overcome. I have a large District 75 school district organization that services my district here in Southeast Queens. And they have done, and hats off to the administration, have done a lot to help engage parents and make parents a part of the process that in educating that child. Whether it is helping those organizations have the resources that they need, helping them by supporting them with grant information, all of those things help build the capacity of our parent-led, parent-based organizations. And I'm grateful for that opportunity to say that this is happening in my district, and it is my hope that we're working towards something that can change system-wide. But if you want to know why parents aren't involved, it's in my experience, or quote unquote, not involved. And I always say that there is a level of involvement. It always looks different for each household. But quote unquote, not involved, it's often because folks feel, and this is my experience in working in our schools in my district, they feel that disempowered. And parents feel that their voice is not as strong in that triangle analogy that I gave you all. And so, there are some best practices in which, can continue to be exuded and exampled through our schools and encouraging parent involvement. But I'm grateful, that we have that example there, and I'm going to continue to fight to ensure system-wide were increasing and improving parent involvement in our schools. Lastly, I know I'm going to jump off because I want to make sure that the next presenter has a chance to speak. I know you guys have a tight schedule. But also, when community partners with parents, parents partner with communities, groups, organizations in the district, you're able to also draw out parents to be a part of the activities in the school. I always caution some of the groups in my district to make sure that they're time appropriate, understanding that we are in working class communities across New York City, and sometimes parents have to work 12-hour shifts or late into the evening. So sometimes it requires that 7 p.m. program, that 6 p.m. program, so that all parents, we can maximize parent participation. And so what we've seen, I see District 29 on the call, it's one of my school districts. What we've seen in collaboration with, again, that triangle, I've seen principals like some in my District 29 schools partner and have evening events if the issue of the school is gun violence, or if the issue of the school is illicit behavior amongst the younger students. I'll just leave that general because it could be anything. And we've partnered with our Cure Violence groups for evening programs in District 29. We've partnered with our workforce development programs, and that brings the parent in that needs additional support professionally, but also additional support in terms of knowing what resources are available to the community. So as I close, I want to thank all of the members of this illustrious Chancellor's Council here, and also thank the presenters prior, because I was definitely enjoying Soma's presentation as I was listening in. And it's my hope that I can continue to share with you all what I'm doing in my district, continue to share with you all legislation that I'm working on to help change these things legislatively and systemically, and I'm looking forward to continued partnership.
And
Thank
Sally,
you.
I just want to say thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt. We do work with District 29. I would love to meet with you because we were approved for $1.3 million with the LEAP grant to help District 75. But unfortunately, the Office of Family and Children Services said that we needed help from the elected officials to get more funding approved in April. So if we could please connect, that would mean the world. I did drop you a chat, and I am gonna put a contact form on your website. But if we can get one person to help us and understand how important it is to help District 75, no money from LEAP grants went to District 75. We were the only one that got approved.
That was one of the problems that I mentioned to OCFS when the application opened up last spring.
Yeah.
Is that there's a contingent of disadvantaged students.
Yeah, but we got approved. We just need to get funded.
So,
And
Mia,
so
okay,
advocate
let's not speak out of order.
Sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
we wait for the chair to recognize. Yes, assembly member will connect with you, put your information in the chat. And if anyone has any information, please, please, please put it in the chat. I already am seeing all the questions for assembly member to please meet with the districts. Especially Ms. Walters is very active in the chat. I love it. Please meet with them. And parent empowerment, in my personal opinion, is very important. It contributes to the success of the child, of the success of the whole school and the district. So please, and the borough, of course. So please, 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 anything that has to do with parent leadership, uplifting our voice, let's connect. Let's continue the work together for the parents because of our children. And Soumya, please put your information down. And we are 1 minute past the time. Thank you so much,
sorry.
assembly member.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you so much. We are now having the 1 second. Unleash the knowledge if she's ready. District 21, Georgette Pesolanti. The floor is yours. I apologize for stealing 1 minute.
That's fine. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am so happy to be here. It's been many years that I've been to a CPAC meeting, so thank you very much. I was asked to come to speak to all of you about the best practices for our district on how we successfully complete our PTA elections prior to the end of the school year every year. So for us, it starts with everybody being on the same page, for the parent leadership to be important to our principals, the superintendent. Everybody is on board with making our elections successful. For us, the conversation begins actually in January during this upcoming President's Council meeting, which is tonight. One of the things that I will talk about is to remind everybody that in February, they should be forming their nominating and election committee, because our Parents Association bylaws actually has the month of February to form the nominating committee. Keeping that in mind, they also know that for us in March, we have an in-person hands-on nominations and election meeting. During this March 12th meeting, all the Parents Association members are invited to attend along with the nominating committee. This meeting in March is also a training that's done with our parent coordinators, and we actually role play and hold an election. There are scripts that we've developed over the years, so as people enter, they're asked to participate. Some people are running for office for a second term. Other people are a grandparent that just wants to help their child's school. So we role play this whole event, and it kind of takes on a life of its own once we get going. And depending upon the chemistry in the room, we can have a lot of fun with this. And it goes over basic procedures for how to successfully run an election. Last year, what we actually did also is, after we did the in-person portion of this training, we actually sent everybody a link because they were asked to bring a laptop, and we took the same scenarios and did it virtually. What else do we do? We also, as a district office and a president's council, we use something called a PTA dates form that we give out to our parent leaders in June. And the reason we started using this form on the district level is that it made parents look at their bylaws. The form asks for the PTA's meeting dates for general membership. The form asks for the executive board. There's also a column to ask if there's a PAC meeting scheduled for that evening, and when are the quarterly meetings with the principals. This, during one of our workshops, I actually stopped and I had the Parents Associations fill out this form, and they sent it to us. So they knew when they were expected to hold their meetings every month. It had them look in their bylaws, and it also helps them understand their roles when they're looking in their bylaws. We always talk about, what does your bylaws say? But most of the times we found that parent leaders just don't pick up those bylaws and read those bylaws. There's very far and few in between. So this dates form serves two purposes for the district, and it also helps President's Council, is when we plan on supporting our parents associations during the election cycle. We already have, from this dates form that was given to us over the summer, September, October, we know when their April and May meetings are. So we know what their target date should be for their elections. And we have these conversations that, based on this form that you filled out, we show that the possible dates for your meetings, for your elections, are April whatever date or May whatever. In our district, we always encourage, because we can never mandate or, enforce, but we always encourage an April election, simply because if there is a glitch. They don't meet quorum. Something happened with the computer that night and they couldn't throw up their ballots. There's still plenty of time in the school year to go in and support the process again. Because once we hit mid-May, June, schools are very busy with end of year activities, right? So we always encourage April. And if they want to go to May, we always encourage earlier May, not May 31st, right? Then we have 2 weeks left to the end of the school year. So those are the conversations that we start to have. For us in the district, our parents' voice is so important. We don't want them to go into a cease to function come June 30th. We want them as parent leaders to elect their peers. Because if they fail to hold elections, there is no more PTA. The current PTA does not continue, right? They're done, they're gone, it's over with. The principal is now in charge of convening the parents by mid-October. Your parent leaders are then 4 to 6 weeks into the school year before they're even elected. By the time they find the old PTA to go to the bank, because the banks are giving parents associations such a hard time now, right? So, and now we're talking maybe the end of October, November, before they even start fully functioning. And we find when that does happen, that they're always scrambling to catch up. They always feel they're behind the 8 ball, they're overwhelmed, and they give up very quickly. When they're thrown in the middle, I mean, I know it's not the middle of the school year, but school is well underway and they're trying to play catch up. And it's very rare that the newly elected people can catch up that quickly. We've always been very successful because of this practice with our President's Council's elections. We're already so for us, it's everybody on board. Our parent coordinators are trained. They're trained with their parent leaders. President's Council plays an important role. They support. We ask our parents, do you need any help? Do you want somebody watching and listening in the background? So between President's Council and the district office staff, we're always there and willing to come in and support and answer the questions, that might come through, at that moment, the little glitches that happen. So it's important to us and everybody's on the same page. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but what works in our district might not work in your district, but it starts early. In order for us to have everybody done by June, we're actually starting to talk about it at tonight's President's Council's meeting.
Thank you so much, Georgette. Does any CPAC member have any questions? We literally have 10 minutes.
I gave you back time.
Right? Oh my gosh, you are a savior. But yes, Caroline Jose.
Hello and good morning to everyone. Happy New Year. It's good to be back. Happy New Year. Pesolanti, thank you so much for being here. Your wisdom is very much valued in this space. My question is specific to when it comes to not being able to establish PTAs because of low, participation. Sometimes it's very challenging in April, in May, and even in June to get parents to really want to take over or, step in to become part of the executive board. And so unfortunately, sometimes we run into the issue of having to do expedited elections in September, or there is no PTA still in September. What would you say is your best advice for getting parents to feel the empowerment to volunteer and step into these spaces?
Okay, so I'm going to go to the point that even though we'll elect and we'll be in full compliance, there's always those non-core positions that are available still, right? There's always one in every PTA, the correspondence secretary has been on the agenda all year, nobody wants it. So my answer to that is always to go after the early childhood parents, right? You have to sit down and have a greet and meet. a springtime tea, and just inviting, the moms and the dads, the guardians to come and make it more one-on-one. Always got to go after the early childhood parents. And that works a lot. Some of our schools and most of the schools do a curriculum night, or one of our school do their first grade parents will be invited to meet the second grade teachers during a family night. So they're all meeting the next grade band of teachers and setting up expectations for the next year. So that's an important event for the current PTA to be there and smiling and shaking hands and saying, hi, we're having elections coming up. We'd love to see you there. So the early childhood, they're eager parents. They're not tired.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. So I guess if there's no more questions, I give CPAC back their time, and I appreciate you inviting me here.
Thank you so much. We have 7 minutes. If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand. 7 minutes, guys. Oh my goodness. Is the Office of Student Enrollment here? Maybe they want to
We're
go ahead
here.
and start early.
We're
Yes.
here. We would
Okay.
love to start a little bit early if possible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Deja Thomas, and I do engagement and strategy for the Office of Student Enrollment. I'm joined by my colleague, Elise Santiago. Elise, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Deja. Good morning, everyone. My name is Elise Santiago, the Senior Director of Kindergarten and Gifted and Talented Admissions here at Office of Student Enrollment. Thank you for having me today.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a presentation for you all, so just bear with me 1 second while I'll go ahead and get started. Okay, can you guys see my screen okay? Can you guys see the presentation? Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So again, good morning, everyone. And we're gonna be talking about elementary admissions today. So in terms of a schedule of events, we have a quick presentation. We're gonna do a demonstration of my schools for you all. And then since we have some extra time, we should have plenty of time for questions and answers. Okay, elementary education in New York City. So over a child's first 3 years in school, there are three main points of contact with our office, again, the Office of Student Enrollment. This year, children born in 2022 are eligible to apply for 3K for fall 25. Children born in 2021 are eligible to apply to pre-K, and children born in 2020 will be eligible to attend kindergarten this upcoming fall. Now let's go over the different setting options. There are nearly 800 elementary schools and over 1,000 additional 3K and pre-K options throughout New York City. These are the different types of setting choices that a family can list on their application. Some are available for all grade levels and some are available only for 3K and pre-K. So we'll start with zone district schools. Most schools have an area around them called their zone. If you live within the zone, that school is your zone school and you would have priority to attend your zone school. Most children do attend their zone school for kindergarten. Non-zone schools do not have a zone. That means that no addresses are assigned to them. Instead, they admit students from throughout the district and or borough and give a priority that way. Many non-zone schools also have unique features and admissions priorities. You can apply to programs outside of your zone or district, but again, it is important for families to know where they have an admissions priority too. Another setting choice that we have are pre-K centers, and the following setting choices are just going to be for 3K or pre-K only. Pre-K centers are run by New York City Public Schools, but they are separate from our district schools, and they only offer 3K or pre-K. Students who live in the district where a pre-K center is located have priority to attend. And then we also have New York City early education centers and family childcare programs. These are run by community-based organizations. They have a contract with New York City Public Schools. Applicants who currently attend a NYSEEK or have a sibling who will attend or receive social services have priority to attend those NYSEEKs. For our family childcare networks, also known as FCCs, these are home-based programs and ran by licensed child care providers in their home. In this setting, which is for 3K applicants only, children are served in a mixed age group for children age birth to 3 years old. And again, the setting's only available for 3K. Priority is given to current students, siblings, and applicants who receive social services from the network, as well as families who reside in the district. We also have additional program choices for 3K and pre-K. So a school day seat, all families are eligible for, and these seats run the standard school day of 6 hours and 20 minutes. And the only requirement is that you just need to live in New York City to attend. For extended day in year and Head Start seats, families must meet income and or need eligibility in order to attend. Extended day in year and Head Start seats provide families with 8 to 10 hours of free or low cost early childhood education and care. Head Start seats, again, they're also based on income and they have other additional requirements as well as extended day and year seats. And the last program option we have for pre-K only are going to be dual language seats. So dual language seats are offered in pre-K and kindergarten. And if you enroll in a dual language program, 50% of the instruction is going to be taught in English and the other half is going to be taught in a target language. So for example, if you're in a Chinese dual language program, that means 50% of your instruction will be in English and 50% of your instruction will be in Mandarin. In terms of kindergarten program choices, we have a standard kindergarten program. We also have dual language, like we just mentioned, for pre-K as well. And then we have gifted and talented. Gifted and talented programs offer accelerated instruction to eligible elementary school students in New York City. If you apply to these programs, eligibility will be determined by either a child's pre-K teacher or through a short interview. And we also have STEM programs. These programs are primarily located in District 24, and that's where priority is given to those applicants as well. And this is where students learn to think and act as scientists and engineers who identify and explore real-world challenges. Students will use their engineering design processes and or computational thinking strategies to build their problem-solving and critical thinking skills. So those are the different kindergarten program options. So when we're talking about programs, you apply to a school and a school may have more than one program. So just going back quickly, for 3K and pre-K, one particular school can have school day seats, extended day and year, and Head Start seats or dual language. And then for kindergarten, a school can also have multiple programs, the traditional kindergarten program, gifted and talented, dual language, or STEM programs. In terms of understanding admissions priorities, while there are many options to consider, children may have a higher chance of getting into some schools over others, and this is because of admissions priorities. Priorities may be based on where a child lives or currently attends school, if they have a sibling enrolled, etc. So if you have a zone school, then those families will have a zoned priority. Again, most families do have a zone school. Most children attend their zone school for kindergarten. And it's also important to note that not all zone schools offer 3K or pre-K. Families have a priority to attend schools in their school district, the school where their sibling is currently enrolled, as long as that sibling is going to be enrolled in that school the next year. So for example, if a school is kindergarten through 5th grade and the child's sibling is currently in the 5th grade, they wouldn't have a sibling priority because that child will be going to 6th grade next year, which is a different school. And the school in which the child is already a current student. For gifted and talented programs, they give priority to siblings and families who reside in the school district. Families could list as many choices on their application as they are interested in attending. This is a change. Before, there used to be a 12 program limit on the application, 12 choice limit. Now there's unlimited options, so you can fill up your application with as many choices as you would like. The best strategy always is to rank choices in your true order of preference. This means listing your first choice as number one on the application. How choices are listed on the application does not change a child's admissions priority at any given school. What does this mean? So let's say you're interested in a particular school, and let's say it's a school in your district, but it's not your zone school. So you have an in-district priority, but you don't have a zone priority. You can still apply to that school. You should still list it as the first choice on your application. Your priority isn't going to change. Similarly, let's say you are a current student at a particular school and you actually prefer to attend another school. You should list on your application the school that you prefer to attend over that, because the fact that you're a current student isn't going to change. The reason why is when the Office of Student Enrollment is making offers, we take a look at how you are ranking choices on the application. And we try our best to match families with their highest choice as much as possible. So if you list something that's not your true first choice and we were able to make you an offer there, you wouldn't be considered for admissions in the same way. So again, how choices are listed on the application does not change a child's priority at a given school. If there are two or more programs at a school, families can apply to both, one or the other, whatever they would like. You can apply to as many programs that you're interested in. But the most important thing to know is that families should only list schools where they want their child to attend and should not include any choices that they are not interested. So if a family does not want to attend a particular school, they should not list it on their application. Again, children born in 2022 are eligible to enter 3K, and those born in 2021 are eligible to enter pre-K for fall 2025. Both the 3K and pre-K applications will open on January 15th, so that's the next week, Wednesday. Children born anytime in 2020 are eligible to enter kindergarten for the fall. The kindergarten application is now open, and the deadline to apply is January 24th, so we have a little bit under 2 weeks left. All applications, regardless if it's 3K, pre-K, kindergarten, or for any of our admissions processes, all of them submitted by the deadline are processed as on-time applications. Admissions is not first come, first served. So it doesn't matter if you apply the day the application opens or the day the application closes. They're all going to be processed as on-time applications. There's no priority given if you apply earlier or later. Again, families can list as many choices as they would like on their application, and we recommend only applying to programs that they want to attend. Additionally, for children born in 2020, so again, those eligible for kindergarten, we wanted to talk a little bit about how gifted and talented works. So again, families can apply to both general kindergarten and kindergarten gifted and talented programs using the same application. There's no longer a separate G&T application for kindergarten. The separate application is just for the upper grades. If a family is interested in a G&T program, they should be sure to list programs again in their true order of preference. How this works, again, eligibility is determined after you submit an application. So let's say that you list your zone school above a gifted and talented program, but you really prefer the gifted and talented program. Like we mentioned, most kindergarten families attend their zone school. They have the highest priority to attend their zone school. So they're more likely to get an offer to their zone school. If you list it above, we're going to assume that you want to attend the zone program more than the gifted and talented program. So if we're able to make you an offer to your first choice, you're not considered in the same way for your choices you list lower on your application. So if a family wants to attend a G&T program more than any other program, they should be listing them in their true order of preference. Again, in terms of eligibility, current pre-K students at New York City Public Schools, pre-K centers, and New York Early Education Centers, so essentially all New York City Public School students, or charter schools are evaluated by their current pre-K teacher after they submit an application. So again, that process happens after, and it's through their current pre-K teacher who will ultimately determine eligibility. Current pre-K students at private programs or children who are not yet enrolled in school will be contacted by the Division of Early Childhood Education to set up interviews that will determine eligibility after they apply. So again, eligibility, regardless of what type of school a child is in, will be determined after they submit an application. It just looks different whether you're a current public school student, inclusive of charter schools and inclusive of our 3K and pre-K providers that aren't in New York City public schools. They will be evaluated by their current pre-K teacher. And if you're a pre-K student at a private program, so again, not one of our programs, or the child is not enrolled in school at all, they'll be contacted by the Division of Early Childhood Education to set up interviews that will determine eligibility. I know I sped through this just a little bit, but that's because I wanted to make sure that we have time for the demonstration and questions. So I'll be taking a look at the chat and I'm going to pass it on to my colleague Elise, who will begin the My Schools demo. And
Thank
I'll
you
stop sharing
again.
my screen so you can share,
Yeah,
Elise.
I got it. Here it goes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Deja. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes to walk us through the My Schools platform, where families go to apply, and just highlight some of the places that we know parents get stuck on in case anyone on the call is supporting families in applications. So once again, our platform is myschools.nyc, not to be confused with mystudent.nyc, which is another DOE platform where folks get grades and that sort of thing. All families need to create a My Schools account is an email address. So if they don't already have one, they can go to create a new account, enter in all their information, create a password, and that will send a link to their email. And then once they verify that link, they can move forward with building their accounts. If they've already used My Schools the previous years, then they can just log into their account using their email and their password. Once they log in, they'll be able to access what we call the dashboard, which is just like the homepage for My Schools. Again, if they've used My Schools already to apply for, let's say, pre-K or 3K, then their student may already appear on their dashboard. But if not, that's not a problem. They can easily add their student to their My Schools dashboard themselves. So that option would be this option where it says add a child. So if you want to click on that, for the purposes of elementary school, you would select the second option, which is applying to 3K, pre-K, kindergarten, elementary schools. And now this will allow the parent to enter in all of their child's information. It does not mean, it means that the family will not need a PIN code or access code or anything. They don't even need, if they don't have it, their student's OSIS ID, which is their official ID. They can just enter in their information manually. So in this case, they would enter their first name, last name. If they know their student's OSIS ID, they can add it here as an option, but again, it's not mandatory. Importantly, they would enter in their child's age, their date of birth. And for, as Deja mentioned, all of our processes are associated with the child's year of birth. So if you, depending on what year your child was born, will determine which applications you're eligible to access. You could also use this space to tell us where your child currently attends school. So if, let's say you're applying to kindergarten and you have a student who's already in pre-K, you can let us know and identify the program from the drop-down. Then it's just identifying the gender, and then this is another important piece, the residential address. This is the address that we will use for the application purposes and to give you priority. So we want to make sure that families see that this is correct. If they need to update it, it's important for families to know that they can do that themselves on My Schools, and they don't need to, necessarily go to their current school program for the purposes of submitting applications. They can simply go to their account settings, which will take them to the place where they created their account, and they could change all the information, including their phone number. But this mailing address is what we're going to use for the application and to also determine their priority. So we want to make sure that's correct. So they go here, they update it, they click submit, and then their My Schools account will be updated for all the students on their dashboard. So once the parent adds the child to their dashboard, again, depending on the year of birth, it will determine which applications they can access. Since the kindergarten application is already open, and this child added for test purposes is born in 2020, we can look at the kindergarten application. This is just a landing page, some basic information about process for families. And this is just one more looking at the student profile to determine that everything is correct. Their birth date, the address that will be used. It also shows the family what their zone school is, and random number. I know sometimes we get requests for that. This is the part of the application in which they can see their random number. So if everything looks good, they can continue by clicking on looks good. If they need to update anything, they can click here to edit their profile. And then the next step would really be searching for programs. So here are some coach marks that guide families through what they're seeing on this page, essentially a school map. The default is to show the schools that are closest to that address that they used when they created their account. However, they can apply to any school in New York City. They can search here for them by name if they know a school they're interested in, or they can move around using some of the filters that we have available. Let's say they want to talk about, look at a particular district, their own district or otherwise. If they want to filter by particular programs, let's say they're interested in just gifted and talented programs, they can filter on that. Or do language, or if they want to look at non-zone school options. So there are a bunch of filters here that can get families to different kinds of schools and different kinds of programs. And a lot of this is shared by the schools. One of those things also, they're looking for a school that has multiple grades served in terms of 3K, pre-K, they can also filter to that. But again, the default is to show the schools that are closest to the home. And if, for example, kindergarten, families have the highest priority to their zone school, they could also reconfirm their zone school with this green check next to their school. So it may not be the school that's physically closest to their home that they receive the highest priority, but most families in New York City do have a zone school where they do receive the highest priority to attend. Furthermore, they can look at more information about the particular school by clicking on the school name, including contact information, address, size, grade served, performance. And then if they want more information about an individual program, right, whether it be
Elise, I'm sorry, Elise, I apologize, but I thought it must have been my computer. For some reason, you sound like very muffled. And I thought it was me. Apologize.
No, it's okay. Sorry, then I've been running through this. Is this any better?
I believe it's a little bit better. Just getting a couple of texts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought it was just me.
I'm so
But
sorry.
we can barely understand anything you're saying, even with the visual.
No. Okay.
Elise, do you want to just like direct and I can like take over if you just click?
They too far from the microphone.
Yeah, if you want to take over, but I'm not sure. I'm not on a microphone. It's just my computer. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Do you want to show how to go ahead and like start adding and building the application? So there's a few different ways that families can add choices to the application. The one thing that they can do is there's a button that showed earlier that add to application. You can immediately do that from there. You can also star programs of interest, and we'll show you where all those stars live. Like we mentioned earlier, there are several programs sometimes within a school that a school may offer. So a child can decide to apply to all of the different program options or just the ones that they're interested in. So for example, if you see on the screen here with PS1, Alfred E. Smith, they have 3 different kindergarten programs. There's a Chinese dual language, a Spanish dual language, and a general kindergarten program. So they can go ahead and favorite all of the programs of interest. So then we'll show you where those favorites live. Once you're done with the search tab, which is essentially where you're like favoriting schools, you can like add to your application that way. Where you're building your applications actually on that apply tab. So there you can see all of the programs that have been favorited so far. And we did manually just say add to application for one of the choices. So the Peck Slip School already shows up there because we clicked that button that said add to application. Now, what we can do too is also add the favorites and it will go ahead and it will build this test application. Something else that we want to show you is how families can rank choices on their application. So as Elise is demonstrating, you can move the choices up and down, and that way you can build it. So if this were set right here, we would assume that well, you're telling us that the first choice on the application is PS 124, the G&T program. The second choice is PS1's kindergarten program, and the third choice is the PEC slip school. Once you're done ranking, you'll go ahead and click next. These alerts appear, and sometimes it will show you tell you certain things. So it's like, okay, maybe apply to your zone school. So that alert will list there, or you only have one choice on your application. So depending on the behavior, an alert may or may not show up. Once you're done going through the alerts, then it's going to bring you to the last page where they have some additional questions. And this is where families can also indicate things like a sibling priority or their current school, for example. Also, if a family is applying for more than one child for the same admissions process, so we're talking multiples, like twins, for example. Can you scroll up just a bit, Elise? Where it says add twins, triplets, etc., you can go ahead and click on that. If you have all of the children who are eligible for the same admissions process, no matter what grade level, so this is true whether you're applying to kindergarten, any of our other elementary processes, middle school, high school, etc., you can go ahead and click that. And what it's going to do is duplicate the application. So it's two applications linked together for the purposes of multiples. So more than one child who's eligible for the same admissions process. So this can be twins. It could be, for example, maybe you have custody of your child and your niece, right? They are not twins, but they are multiples in that sense because you are the legal guardian of both of those children and they're both eligible for the same grade. You can also add siblings here, and I do want to claim that siblings is different than multiples. Sometimes families get this confused. This means that you have a sibling that is currently sitting at a school you listed on your application. So in order to get that sibling priority, a family will enter the sibling information here. So they'll tell us like their date of birth, the child's name, etc. And you can have the option of adding multiple siblings that are applying to schools that you have listed on the application. You can also denote whether or not the child is a current student. We're submitting a a kindergarten application, sorry, so the child can be a current student, a current pre-K student at one of these schools. They could go ahead and list their current school. It will show up as a choice and a parent can check that. Once they're done filling out that information, then they just have to check the few boxes that's certified, just a few legal things that you are the parent of this child, you live the same address, like all of our disclaimers, and then you submit the application. And once you see the confetti, that's how you know the application was submitted successfully. And then you also will get an emailed receipt. You can return back to the dashboard and you'll also see that same receipt that you got emailed appear on your dashboard. And if somebody wanted to edit the application, all they have to do, sorry, Elise. All they have to do is click that blue button that says submit it again and go through the exact same steps in order to resubmit the application. And again, you'll know it's been resubmitted when you see the confetti. As long as you see the confetti, you know the application has been submitted and you will get an email receipt every time you edit the application. So if you edit the application 100 times, guess what? You're getting 100 emailed receipts. And then however, on the dashboard, you'll only see the most recent receipt on your dashboard. We won't give you 100 copies of that. But every time you go in and edit the application, you will have a record of it. So that is pretty much the demonstration. That's how my schools work. And then all we have left now are questions. And I guess since we started earlier, we do have some time for questions. So happy to take them.
Yes, so we basically right on time at 10:50 is the class size presentation by Emma Badera. I'm not sure if she's here. There's just a couple of people in on my screen. But please let me know if she's here, and if not, we can take a question or two.
Is there any, so I'm going to read the questions I'm seeing in the chat out loud. Is there anything on the application for families who need a 12 one-to-one or ICT setting? Elise, do you want to try unmuting? I think you'll probably be the best to speak to this.
Yeah, thank you, Deidre. Very quickly, no. Every family who is eligible and born in 2020 can apply and submit a kindergarten application and apply to any school they're interested in and schools they have had priority to. What happens for kindergarten, at least, they will also go through what we call the KID process, which is where they get their finalized IEP and their finalized placement. For very many families who are applying, they'll be able to receive the services on their child's IEP. After school, they also receive through the kindergarten application. There's a small population of folks who will have an updated placement because their needs are very, very specific and only serve at particular schools. But for the most part, if you apply for an application through the kindergarten process and your child needs a special class or ICT setting, you're likely be able to receive those services at the school you get through the application process. So we encourage families with students with disabilities to also apply.
I'm not sure if we got all of that, but I prefer if people would raise their hand and ask their questions since I'm not seeing Emma here. Anthony, Randy, please let me know if Emma is here so we can continue with the agenda. Otherwise, Caroline, you have the floor.
Thank you. I didn't want to skip over anyone that's in the chat. I see like there's 2 extra questions there before I put my hand up. So just
I
in
can
case.
go to those after if they're not
Mine
duplicated.
is very quick. I always run into, as a PTA president, I have many parents that, unfortunately, they may not have time to run into the school and talk to the parent coordinator. Do you guys have a guideline of how to take the steps to what you just explained with us? Just so that they have like an easier way to read through the steps versus like sitting in an office or, trying to deal with it themselves at home. If there's
Yeah.
something you provide.
If families, in terms of like just a handwritten or like a printed out resource about how to submit the application, we don't necessarily have that, but we do have a wealth of resources on our website where family can print it out, and we do have video tutorials on all of our admissions pages. So if you go on the 3K page, pre-K, K, etc., there's a video series there that guides parents how to submit an application. They can also get support at one of our Family Welcome Center locations. They can call P311 for support. They can also reach out to us via email as well, and we're always happy to support families. But there are step-by-step resources. It's just not necessarily printed out, but it is listed on our website. I'm Miss Walters.
Right. I'll do this. I'll do that. Don't worry, Deja,
Okay,
about
good,
that.
thanks. I'm gonna lower my hand and ask
Yeah,
my
I was
question.
just looking into the chat because I know there was a question by Priscilla who is unable to raise her hand. I just want to acknowledge her. I
Okay.
just lost it.
Okay, so can I go?
Please do, and then I'll come back to her question.
Oh, to Priscilla. Okay, no problem. So thank you so much, Deja. Happy New Year to everyone again. I just wanted to get some clarity during your presentation on the distinction between Horizon. I had to write this down. Horizon, Nest, and the AIM programs as compared to District 75 and General Special Ed Services. Specifically, I'm looking to understand the application process in terms of how where they fit in because they're not even mentioned as part of this collective conversation.
So
and we have parents struggling within those categories, demographics, groups with not being addressed in terms of normal data being shared as to supporting them, especially with Nest and Horizon. Thank you.
Yes, that's a really good question. Nest and Horizon programs are listed on the kindergarten directory, but as Elise had mentioned earlier, some of these we work in tandem with the Office of Special Education for placements of these sorts. So if you look on the directory here under specialized programs, that filter that Elise has on her screen, there you will find those programs there so a family can filter and search for them. In terms of the differences and how to support parents, I would actually encourage you to send us an email at ES enrollment, and I'll put it in the chat. I'm just waiting to like once everything's done to put all the resources in the chat for you all at esenrollment@schools.ny schools.nyc.gov, and we can go ahead and give you information or connect you with like the differences in how families can get support. But those programs do have a separate application process. You are able to filter for them on the My Schools directory so families can see them, but they do have a separate admissions process where we're always happy to connect families with the resources that they need. So even if it's not something 100% that we manage, we will support families and get them connected, because we understand to a family, it doesn't matter who is doing it in terms of the office, they just need the answers, and we're very responsive to that.
Yes, thank you. So, I was trying to understand Priscilla's question, and it says, can you say more about what you mean? Oh, not that one. Regarding applications, some schools are flagged, and I know Nadia asked her, what exactly do you mean by flag? I'm not sure if you're unable to unmute
Yes,
Priscilla
I
and
can.
ask your
I have a new
question.
phone. Thank you, Rosa, for acknowledging me. I have a new phone. I'm not sure if it's the phone or what. However, thank you so much for this presentation. Yes, of all the schools in District 29, we have one school that sits on two districts, both 26 and 29, which is PSIS 208. During the application process, it comes up as flagged. You are not in a zone school. And as a result, we've seen a decline in kindergarten enrollment because parents are not aware that it is a school that is zoned to District 29. So they have been personally working with the Office of Enrollment, but this has been since 2022, and there hasn't been any resolve. So I'm hoping you can provide some insights on pointing us in the right direction on getting this remediated.
You mean it's flagged in I'm not okay, so I don't know exactly what you mean by flagged, but I get the question. I think this is something also that should be emailed to ES enrollment, because it's probably something with how it's pulling up with zoning. But generally, we would have to take a closer look into that. That's not something that I could answer right now. I would have to see how it's showing up and who it's affecting, and see if it's actually affecting applications in that same way. Because if it's showing, that may not be the reason why people aren't applying, if that makes sense. It just may not it be getting low applications, but I wouldn't be able to answer that in this short period of time without taking a closer look at it to see how it's appearing in My Schools.
Okay, which office is that? ESN?
Yeah, it's still Office of Student Enrollment. You can just send an email to ES Enrollment. So ES is an elementary school, and I will put this in the chat. ES enrollment at schools.nyc.gov. And you can direct it to anybody, and the team will go ahead and take a look into that. Make sure to
Yes,
put
okay.
the school name though, and District
Okay.
29. Yeah, that way we
Rosa,
can look.
thank you so much. Thank you
Of
again,
course.
Rosa.
Of course, this is your forum. Everyone is allowed to ask all the questions, obviously when time permits. And I believe I saw Emma. Yes, I did. I do. So Emma, please, please, please go ahead with the presentation. And by the way, just to announce it to everyone, when the chancellor gets here, we will take a pause because I know her schedule is really packed and tight. Thank you so much. Emma, do you have the floor?
Great. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to be late. I had a Zoom fight with Zoom, a Zoom one. Okay, I am here for the presentation that we had to postpone last month on class size. I'm here with Cora from SCA. I'm going to go relatively quickly, realizing the chancellor might hop on, but we can hop back when she steps off. Let me just screen share quickly. Is that screen shared correctly? Good, great. Okay, hold on. Okay, so class size implementation. The last time we talked about this was now quite a while ago as a group, so a lot has happened between then and now. So I'm going to do a quick reminder of the law and then talk about the work we've done for this year and the work we're doing with our labor partners and our school communities for next year, which is we are right in the middle of that. What is the class size law? I appreciate some of you, especially those of you, thank you, Rosa, and others who have served on the class size working group, have spent a lot of time learning about what the class size law is. But for others, the class size law is a law passed by New York State a couple of years ago now that requires New York City public schools, just New York City and just district schools, not charter schools, to reduce class size as laid out in this slide. So to 20 to 23 to 25 or to 40 students, depending on the grade and the subject. The law specifically says New York City must get to 100% of classes underneath these caps, but there is a phase in to get there. So last year, 23-24 was year one of the law, and the city was required to have 20% of classes under the caps. This year, where we are in year two, 24-25, we are required to have 40% of the classes under the caps. And then as you can see, it phases up to 100%. As of this year, the way this works is there's a sort of once a year date, 10/31, along with so many other things about our system. As of this year on 10/31, we had 46% of our relevant classes underneath the cap. So we are in compliance and over compliance in terms of what's required for this school year. And we are working aggressively to be planning for next school year. This is the basic data. As some of you also know, their law does allow for some exemptions at the class level for classes that can go above these caps in certain circumstances. Any of those exemptions must be approved not just by New York City Public Schools, but also by our labor partners, UFT and CSA. And the planning and implementation that we do of the law generally also basically happens in conjunction with UFT and CSA. So we've been actively working with them for a couple of years now. This is where we are currently as a city. So this is what percent of classes are currently under the caps laid out in the law. And what you can see is, while we're at 46% across the city, that really varies very widely by district within the city. And so we have some of our districts, like District 23 and districts in Central Brooklyn, that have fairly high compliance rates. D23, I think, is already at 81% of classes are already under the caps. And then we have some of our districts, particularly Southern Brooklyn, Outer Queens, Staten Island, that have lower rates of compliance with the caps at this point in time. And so this gives you a sense of where we are now and where we need to be, because the targets are citywide. So there's fine that there's this level of sort of variation across the city now, but that's going to need to change as we continue to move towards higher compliance rates. Rosa, I'm assuming you're going to interrupt me if the Chancellor hops on. Is that right? Okay, great. So what did we do for this year? So going into this year, we knew we were going to be fairly close to where we needed to be for compliance, but we wanted to start to get the whole system thinking about how to improve compliance, how to ensure more classes are underneath these caps, whether that means additional teachers, additional sessions, additional rooms being converted to instructional spaces. So going into this school year, these are a couple of the things we did just by way of background. We asked all of our superintendents to work with principals individually to increase compliance by 3%. I'll talk about this a little bit more, but one of the things we've really learned with the class size working group and after a couple of years of going around the city is this is going to look very different at different schools. And we wanted to start where we can by giving schools and superintendents the opportunity to think about how to drive change. So we asked every superintendent to work to improve by 3% across the district. We worked with Cora and SCA, and Cora will talk more about this in a second, to think about how we update our capital planning strategy to make sure we're putting seats where they're most needed for class size purposes, which is sometimes a little bit different than where they would have been needed otherwise for capacity purposes, right? These are individual school and class level calculations. We put out additional funding for class size going into this year. That included $45 million in C4E funds from the state of new money that were usable for a set of purposes the state allows, including class size, but also supports for English learners, and additional time on task, some other things the state considers allowable. And then we put out $137 million in addition for class size only, and sent that across the system at the with school budgets. We have been working actively, our HR team, and working with superintendents on how we can continue to improve teacher recruitment and retention. One of the things we know we will need is 10 to 12,000 teachers to get to full compliance on top of the teachers we hire each year. And so what are the ways we continue to recruit and retain additional teachers each year is a real key part of this. And then we'll continue to focus on high poverty schools. As some of you may know, the law specifically requires that we prioritize poverty and need as we implement. That's something we are very glad and happy to do. We have a funding formula locally that is very equity driven. Some of you helped us make it more equity driven through the FSF working group. So we have a very strong equity driven formula. The law requires we continue to prioritize high need schools as a part of this. We are doing that. It does get challenging because as we continue to move towards implementation, it's actually our some of our comparatively better off communities that are going to need more teachers and more money to get to compliance. Those are the ones that are further from compliance now, but as much as we can, we're continuing to prioritize high need schools. And that's sort of what we did coming into this year. Looking towards next year, we've continued to change our approach and continue to think about how we can support additional schools to make additional progress. And we've been working with our union partners on that, but we are still staying true. So for next year, we have to get to 60%. As I shared, we are at 46%. We are well on our way. We are still trying to stay true to as much as possible, asking school communities what makes sense for them. What do you need to continue to make progress towards the law's caps? Do you need additional funding for teachers? Do you need non-instructional spaces converted into instructional spaces? Do you need additional per session funding? Sort of what are the things you need to make this work in your community? And that's what we sort of stuck to for our planning for next year. So in the fall, we rolled out with UFT and CSA a process that basically said to all the schools in the city, what's your school-driven approach to improving class size? And we said to all our principals multiple times, what does this look like in your school? What do you need to improve compliance? This was meant to be done in consultation with SLTs, and you give us your plan. Here's a bunch of things you may need. You pick, we will look at those requests. And in December, principals had to hand in those plans to us. And we are now in the process of reviewing those. We're doing a little back and forth with schools to make sure they have a chance to submit complete applications. We will be looking at those with UFT and CSA over the next couple of months. We specifically asked principals to put together plans to improve compliance without reducing programming offerings. Again, as some of you and certainly Rosa know, one of the things that came up in the class size working group was wanting to ensure reducing class size doesn't run up against opportunities for students and different programs and protections for some of our most vulnerable students. And so we specifically asked principals to make sure they didn't do that in their plans. And we are basically now in the process of reviewing these hundreds of applications. So that's where we are right now. We're reviewing them. We'll be funding them later this spring. Rosa, you want me to shut up? Yes, great. I can pick up after the
We'd like
chancellor
for you
does,
to
but I'm about done.
pause. We'd like for you to pause. That I believe we have our chancellor here and want to respect her time because she does have a tight schedule. Chancellor Melissa, if you would like to give your updates.
Good morning, everyone. I apologize for being in the car, but I am on my way to State of the City, so apologies, but it's great to see you all here and Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday break. We've jumped right back into action. I joined the Museo del Barrio Parade, where I got the pleasure to be with Rosa. To celebrate Dia de los Reyes, Three Kings Day. And we know later on in the month, we have Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, where our schools will celebrate his tremendous legacy. And we also have International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And our many schools will participate in related activities as well. So as a reminder, as we gear up to celebrate these tremendous moments, I just want us to remember that hate has no place in our schools, that our core values as a city and a school system are about inclusion, acceptance, respect for diversity, and we want to make sure that we are upholding those core values always. And as a reminder, CEC elections are now happening. And I know Dr. Melendez will make sure that she reminds us again. Applications to run for CEC open January 13th and they continue through February 16th. So please make sure that you visit our site, schools.nyc.gov/elections 2025 to learn more. And even if someone is not running, please make sure that you are voting and that you are encouraging people who you think would be interested. This is a huge opportunity. We talk so much about parent empowerment and involvement, and this is one of the many structures that allows for you all to be at that table. So I don't want to take up a lot of time. I want to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions. And unfortunately, I am a little limited for time today as well. So I'm just going to pass it back over to you to jump right into any questions or comments.
Yes, thank you so much. But first, real quick, I know you're busy, but we, CPAC, want to give Deputy Chancellor Dr. Cristina Melendez her flowers. Do you have a minute to say something, Dr. Deputy Chancellor Cristina Melendez?
No, thank you. Thank you all so much for recognizing me. And in the interest of time, I just want to say that in the last 3 years, CPAC has definitely have been the boots on the ground to elevate all of the concerns that many of our families are experiencing, but don't know how to get it to us so that we hear them. And so we are forever indebted to you and your commitment to your communities because it helps us make the schools better. And so we are so grateful for your time, your energy, and your efforts, and for just embracing me in the last 3 years. And so it's a win for all of us. And I'm still here and still just as committed. And the division is now even more streamlined thanks to the Chancellor, so that all of this work can really can go together. So we're really excited to do that and to continue this work. So thank you for the moment. But back over to you, Rosa.
Thank you so much. And we are super grateful and thank you for your leadership. So, and congratulations one more time. Yes, we have a couple of questions. Randy, would you like to state the questions that we have discussed, or you want me to?
Sure. I'm just gonna go out of order to get the questions to the Chancellor that she should answer, and then after that she can answer, and then after that, for her team, that'll stay on. So can we learn more about the Dream Specialized High School Institute SHSI 2025? Parents are confused about why children with the same qualifications may or may not be selected. Are there specific school sites chosen to host, and are there incentives for schools hosting on the weekends? I'm going to put the question in the chat too.
Thank you so much, Randy. And my internet is a little spotty, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to turn my camera off. So that way I don't, because you guys were freezing up a little bit on me. Thank you. So as you may or may not know, DREAM is it's an academic test preparation for eligible 7th graders, and this prepares them to take the specialized high school admissions test, which we often call the SHSAT, in 8th grade. The program does run from March 2025 for 10 Saturday sessions, and that goes through the summer for 5 weeks and into the fall on Saturdays until the exam. The eligibility is based on an academic component, but there's also a geographic and or income requirement, because the purpose of the program is really to increase diversity. So that's and I should say the geographic and the socioeconomic diversity of the specialized high schools, right? So there is a link with eligibility requirements, and the team will make sure that you have that. And the application is also on My Schools for the first time this year. So we encourage everyone to take a look at that. When DREAM does receive more applications than seats available for a site, then a waitlist would be created based on a random lottery. But the DREAM enrolls up to 5,000 students in the program. And so some of the students who apply may be waitlisted. So, just want to flag that for you. And in terms of the school sites that are chosen to host and the incentives, there are a few factors that are looked at to select dream sites. The main ones being centrally located for students and families, a proximity to public transportation, the school's willingness to host the program, as there aren't really incentives to host other than that, just that they have the willingness to do so. And often there may be a connection with a dream site supervisor for the site. So like maybe they're an AP for that school. So those are some of the some of the background on Dream, and then we can certainly, if there's more information that you want, we can make sure that we get CML to maybe sit and do a presentation on this.
Okay, great. Next question. How can we work more effectively with schools to support open houses and bridge programs for pre-K to kindergarten?
I'm sorry, Randy, can you say that again?
How can we work more effectively with schools to support open houses and bridge programs from pre-K to kindergarten?
Okay, we have amazing options for families across every neighborhood in the system, and open houses are an important way to display the programs and all the amazing work that they do. And in the past few years, we launched My School's events calendar to support schools in advertising and managing their open houses. So the open houses populate on each school's My Schools page, and that's a pretty easy way for families to find out about opportunities to visit and sign up. And superintendents are also tasked with supporting schools across their district with open houses as well as fairs. So, DSL, I know that they do a lot of work with that. So, please know that. Superintendents are also working with the mayor's office and other city agencies to plan outreach events to families in areas with low enrollment to provide information about our pre-K programs and the enrollment process. And so that's some of the ways that we're trying to get the awareness out there and spread the word.
Okay, next question. This is a new one. Could the New York City Public Schools provide reimbursement for families who pay the congestion relief fee to attend meetings or training sessions?
Yeah, I figured this would come up at some point. To the best of our knowledge, the rules about reimbursing parents and parent leaders for attending meetings haven't changed. You would treat any transportation cost the same as you would previously, but as a reminder, we strive to ensure families have multiple paths for participation and to do them in a way that that is the least onerous for families. So like holding events virtually when possible in local communities, but nothing has changed. Could the Department of Education, I mean, we're always happy to think creatively about how we can do that, but as of right now, we don't have an answer for that. I apologize.
That's okay. The next one is, what is the reason for stalled upgrades to the cafeteria experience redesign? There's schools that were added to the list, but there's no explanation regarding the status since September. So they're looking for information.
Yep, there was an expected delay, and we're now in a new capital plan, and that had to get to the appropriate approvals. We just received OMB approval right before the holidays, so we're starting the planning process for approved schools in the next few weeks.
Okay. Do you have time for more questions? Because we have another question, but I really think that's more for FACE, but it was written to the Chancellor. So.
I can stick around for 5 more minutes, and then Christina, if I run out of time, I'm fully confident in Christina being able to jump in.
Okay, so I'll just ask, how are school administrators held accountable for the lack of partnership with PTAs beyond the superintendents?
Yeah, this is an ongoing issue, right? And we know this, and principals are always instructed and encouraged by their superintendents to have close working relationships with PAs and PTAs. But to that point, DSL and FACE have partnered to host monthly PDs for FLCs to learn and discuss family engagement topics. And DC Melendez is part of DSL's weekly superintendent office hours to address questions and concerns. But I've said this in the past, and I will continue to say this. If you know of a school that is not engaged in the practice, I really need you to reach out to DC Melendez on the side. Many of you also have my cell phone number. Like, you can reach out to both or either of us and give us a specific site that has an issue. A couple of you have done that already, and I appreciate that, and we're looking into those issues. But we can't, beyond, the professional learning and the office hours, if there is a targeted issue that we need to address, we want to have a targeted response, and we're only going to be able to do that when we know the specific sites. DLTs and DSL and FACE has also partnered to work with superintendents and FLCs to ensure that Chancellor's Regulation A660 is upheld. So this includes providing the professional learning, so all school and district administrators understand the importance of collaborative and supportive relationships with parents as partners. We also know that DLTs and SLTs regularly analyze the school and parent engagement practices, which are included in their DCEPs and CEPs. And then, of course, Christina and I have been talking about the pilot program between CECs and superintendents. And I know that we're talking about PTAs and PAs, but when we think about respect for parent empowerment and we think about productive relationships between superintendents and parents and CECs, once that is strong, I also firmly believe that sets the tone for relationships between PA, PTA, and principals, right? It starts at the top. And so Christina, myself, the rest of the cabinet, we are prioritizing these relationships with parents. We want to make sure that we're giving superintendents and CECs the tools that they need to have productive relationships. And we believe that's only going to strengthen the relationships between PA, PTA, and principals. And before I pass it over to Christina, I just one more time want to say, if there is a specific area that you are concerned with, we are very discreet, but we are about moving the needle. So if there is a place that needs support, like, let us know, and we are gonna jump in without mentioning anyone's name, without doing it in a way that is going to make a situation more more inflammatory. But if things need to change, things need to change. We need to know about them.
Thank you. Last question. So I don't know if it's because of the season of, flu season and everything, but we're having more issues with our school safety agents, the lack of them. So if you have elementary schools that have one agent and they're out and there's no one coming in to replace them, they'll pull from another school that has more agents. And a lot of times it's high schools that have scanners. So that, for me, is a loss of instructional time because the kids are online outside the school building waiting to get in. They can't allow the kids in the school without scanning, and there's not enough agents to scan them. And first period is like severely impacted. Is there anything that can be done to get these classes moving? I mean, I know that I believe they're under the NYPD budget. They used to be under DOE. Like, is there anything that could be done? Maybe
And not to cut you off, we definitely have, we obviously took a huge dip after COVID. We lost a lot of safety agents, but then during this administration, I think and Mark, if you're on, please keep me honest, but I believe we hired roughly an additional 3,000, which still didn't put us back to our pre-COVID numbers, but it was an improvement. And I know that there was another class, and I apologize that I don't have the numbers on me, but we are seeing an increase. And without, giving away promises and details that aren't ready to be shared, Mark and I are thinking of creative ways on how we can help to recruit more safety agents, because we know that this is a problem. I mean, this has been a problem even pre-COVID. I had this issue even when we had more safety agents, and sometimes my safety agents would be pulled and I had to shut down one of my entries, which meant that there was a bottleneck at the main and the kids were just running late for first period, and it's cold. It's like, it's freezing. And it is a real issue. And I don't reiterate the issue to tell you the obvious, but to tell you that I deeply understand this, and that this is a big issue that Mark and I have been trying to solve for a while, even prior to me being chancellor. And he's working very closely with NYPD. And we know the salaries are not necessarily attractive. So we are working in very close concert with NYPD on that, and hope to have more more information very soon.
Thank you, Chancellor.
And I unfortunately have to drop. I apologize. It's just one of those mornings, but it's always great to see you all. And again, happy to carve out more time for us to answer additional questions. Excuse me, especially if it's something on a more targeted topic that you need more information on. So thank you all. It was great seeing you and hope to speak soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, for being here and answering the questions. And just if anyone is wondering, these questions are very important. There were like 2 questions that were not on the questionnaire, and I truly apologize to the Chancellor, but she was able to answer the questions and obviously continuing to work together in support of our children. And now we are going to unpause the presentation. Emma, if you're able to um, present, thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah, of course. Happy to hop back in. Just give me 1 second. Okay. And Cora, I'm about to flip to you. Okay, good. Rosa, good. Okay, thank you. So anyway, as I was just finishing up on saying, we are in the process of reviewing those proposals and plans from schools currently. Starting that review, UFT and CSA are also reviewing. It is a real joint process with a goal of funding schools this spring going into next year moving forward. So that's sort of on the funding and staffing and school level planning side. That's where we are looking towards next year. Cora, I'm going to flip to you quickly. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Emma, and thanks everyone for having me today. I am going to give you a quick update from our perspective. The data here presented reflects all the updates we made in the November 2024 amendment, which is currently published on our website. In terms of the capacity program, the funding level remained the same. We still has 6.13 billion that reflect the 2 billion additional funding we got from the city at the adoption. So that just a kind of a reminder. We estimate we'll use that funding to create 33,400 seats. Now that's an estimate depending on the project, on the sites. That number could be very different. Especially as you'll see later, we are trying to be really creative to create different capital strategies to address some of the smaller schools with smaller needs. In those cases, the funding might be more cost efficient. So we're very happy to report that we have identified 7 additional projects in the November amendment. So we asked, out of the 33,400 seats, we have cited about 10,224 seats, including 2,295 seats that are newly cited at the 7 projects. So those projects are listed on the slide. As you can see, we have cited elementary school and in District 10 in Bronx with about 547 seats. That also included 96 seats for D75 special ed program. We cited another elementary school in Brooklyn, District 20, also for 547 seats, also includes 96 seats for D75 program. Another smaller elementary school, this is a NIST building in Staten Island with 229 seats. We're very happy to announce that we are going forward with designing and will construct an annex building for Forest Hill High School. We'll create over 740 seats. So the other 3 projects I want to spend a little time talk about them because they are not your typical projects you will see that's funded by capacity program. They are not newly purchased sites, they are not NIST buildings. We know there are a lot of schools with some need for classroom where there are space either non-instructional space that can be converted to for instruction to assist those schools to achieve their class size. We are using smaller scope capital projects to help them to get there. So the 3 projects we are showing now, PS1 Bronx, Far Rockaway High School, and Amherst Education Campus are examples of those smaller scope capital projects which allow us to provide more targeted support for schools that are in need for classroom, but not in, with significant need. We'll continue to work with different offices at the public school to identify those opportunities so that we can hopefully spread the funding a lot further. Again, as I mentioned, we are really trying to take a very creative approach to identify all and different opportunities and scenarios in which we can create more seats in a faster and more targeted approach. And that's that's the updates we have reflected in the November amendment. Thank you.
I think that's what we have. So happy to take questions or whatever you say, Rosa.
Absolutely. I would love if people can please raise their hand. But give me 1 second, Caroline. Does anyone else that has not spoken need to ask a question? Because I know Carolina already spoke, but I just want to be fair to everyone. I don't see any other question. Carolina, please. Caroline, I apologize.
I'm trying to make up for the last 2 months of not being on CPAC. A question for each month. No. And thank you again for the opportunity to do so. And my question is real simple. Everyone's district is obviously different in their needs right now. In my particular district, we are, dealing with our own class size issues here and there, but not as crazy as we thought it'd be. The one thing I do want to make a point of is that, certain neighborhoods and communities are dealing with a lot of developers. And these new structures that are being built in surrounding neighborhoods that already are, congested, already dealing with high class sizes and do not have new buildings for schools. I'd like to know, how does that mix into this, initiative? Because is there a conversation happening with developers? Are there conversations happening on the elected official level where they're being, put onto the notice of all of these other developments being put in places that we could be having schools built, instead of making families go the distance to other locations because their school is overcapacitated, So I just want to hear more about that a little bit, because I kind of understand through the presentation, and thank you very much for all that information. But I really want to know on a local level, as someone who lives in a community that is seeing this happen day to day, how do you guys, relate to that area of developers putting out so many new structures and none of them being with the cognizance and the understanding that we're dealing with a class size issue? And thank you.
Sure, I can provide some information about how we work with other city agency to incorporate and to really to be ongoing conversation with other city agency exactly for what you're talking about. So when we look at the CNEED, we do get information from city planning, Department of Building, HPD, any agency that could be needing development, housing development. We know housing is a high priority for the city as well. So we're not here to stop them, but what we have been working with the partners with city agency is to hopefully get into the conversation early enough so that if there is opportunity for incorporate a school component, or if the developer, because of the amount of housing they're building, they are required to contribute or work with us, we're in that conversation early and throughout the process. So there are different type of conversation, different type of development. Some of the development, we don't require any zoning change, for example. So developer do the design, pour a permit, they can just go ahead build. That in those situations, we don't have a lot of leverage as a city to ask them to give us space for school. But those data, the permanent housing data, is taken into account when we do projection for the entire city on different level. So we'll know across the city, in each of the district and sub-district, based on the permanent information, how many units are being planned or built in the next several years, and we take that into account when we do our projection. Now, when there are bigger area wide rezoning that's not by the city, city planning is including us in the conversation at the very beginning. So we work with them to identify on their city-owned property where we can maybe take advantage of and build school, on their opportunity where the developer might be willing to partner with us so we can do a mixed-use building, or are they willing to, sell us a piece of their property so we can build a school. School is a very important community facility. I think everyone is on the same page. It's just, we just need to work out and identify those opportunities that would work. What is a little hard is the requirement for a site to work for a school is not, it's not very small, right? It would have to have certain size because we want to make sure we have outdoor play space for the students. We have to have certain amenities. We have to have gym, cafeteria. So the site needs to be a certain size and we try to make sure it's away from, from the flood zone. We need to make sure the site is clean. So there are a lot of requirements that we want to make sure our kids are protected, are safe when we build a school for them. But there are a lot of conversation currently ongoing in different areas of the city where we're trying to work out some kind of arrangement with the developers or with the city to make sure a school can be included.
Thank you. I just simply was going towards the fact that we're building all these residential spaces, meaning more people are going to come in and create a more higher class size.
Absolutely.
Because we're not building schools, we're building, more apartments.
The
And at that,
infrastructure
it just puts this in a whole other conundrum of like, where do these new residents now fit into this whole, trying to make the class sizes any smaller than they already are. So
Right.
that was my question. Thank you again. I really do appreciate
point.
what you've expressed.
Yes. Thank you so much, Caroline. And then do make up for all the other months next month. Okay. I'm gonna squeeze one more question. Thanks to Lenny, because she's like the class size girl for me, the wizard. 500 or more schools have no space to meet the caps, right? But principals will not be allowed to cap enrollment even if they're underutilized in schools nearby. Oh my God. Though that was a proposal of the class size working group, and why? I know one of the proposals, especially for the special education, since I was the co-chair, was that we did not want our students with disability and special needs to go further away from the districts and for them to be prioritized. So can you please let me know why the principals are not capping enrollment of their schools when there are other schools that the students can go to?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. And Rosa, I know you know this, but just so others know, the class size law doesn't apply to D75 programs, which already obviously often have small classes. And B, both at the recommendation of the class size working group and many others, we are working really hard to make sure more space is needed for schools under the class size law. That's what Cora and team are working hard on, but really working hard to make sure that doesn't push out D75 programs or mean our special education students need to travel even further. So we are keeping that front and center, and that was a key recommendation. And ditto for our students in temporary housing and pieces like that, right? We are always subject to ensure they have all the protections afforded them under the federal McKinney-Vento law, and we're continuing to ensure that is true with this law. Yes, and on the first one, the question about capping enrollment, appreciate the question, appreciate it was a recommendation of the class size working group, and will say what I and the Chancellor have said in the past, which is we don't want to be, those are choices that families are making. Sometimes they are the school closest to home. Like, let's be clear, sometimes capping enrollment at that school would mean a student has to travel further, just as you just said we don't want to. Which we don't want to either. But right now, we really don't want to be, dramatically limiting enrollment at schools and limiting those choices for families where we don't think we need to. And for now, we believe we can get to 60% compliance and hopefully quite a bit beyond by continuing to fund and support schools, continuing to make more space, continuing to give funding for more teachers and more per session and all of that, and continuing to make progress in that way. Where there's small enrollment shifts, like 1 or 2 students, that would make a difference, and where we're still protecting, for example, students' rights under McKinney-Vento, we are looking at things like that. But in terms of these substantial shifts, we are not looking to limit access and opportunity to those schools in that way. Hopefully, we'll continue to build and we'll continue to move forward. There's some exemptions written into the law that potentially we could continue to work with our labor partners on as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the answer. And thank you so much for the presentation, Emma and Cora. Always a pleasure to have you here. I know we're
Thank
starting
you,
a little bit
everybody.
late. Thank you. And now we have face updates. Really late. I apologize.
No problem, Rosa. And always a pleasure to be here, everyone. Thank you so much for having us as always. Wanted just to share a few updates, and just one is upcoming town halls, and there was a flyer shared in the chat of our upcoming town hall in District 1, which will be next Thursday, January 16th, followed by District 13 on January 30th, and District 30 on February 3rd. The Chancellor mentioned that we have, like yesterday, we announced the launch of the CC election campaign. On this Monday is the opening of the applications, and also on this Monday, and I'll put it in the chat, we will be hosting a webinar, a candidate webinar for interested individuals who are interested in learning more about the CC and the process, and encouraging participation at that webinar, because I think it's a good opportunity for individuals to really learn about what is the CEC, and learn about how they could apply. We want to encourage everyone to apply. As everyone here knows, the importance of leadership, within the parent leadership structures, is essential in our partnership in this system. And one of the things that we're trying to do this election cycle is really outreach to the community, to really kind of let them know about these opportunities. If they do not want to run, understood, but they should vote. If they're eligible to vote, they should vote. Everyone, every school should be part of this process. So that candidate webinar will be on Monday. I will put the Zoom link on. It will be from 5 to 6. So far, we have about over 600 registrants for it, and we're looking to have as many people as possible. So looking forward to that, and I'll put that in the chat. So members, if you can share that, definitely encourage your attendance as well. We also started last year our election working group, and we have about 72 parent leaders who are part of the election working group. Our next session will be January 14th from 6 to 7. If there's anybody, members of CPAC, if you missed the first session, do not worry. You can jump into any session you'd like. So please let us know if you're interested, and we'll send you the information for our next election working group session. And we have also been, as we know, President's Council plays an essential part in the election in so many different ways. One of the ways is the hosting of the candidate forums. And I know that the members of the FACE team have been reaching out to respective President's Councils just to confirm dates for the candidate forums that will be coming up later on this year. So please reach out. Please watch out for those outreaches. I know that the team started making calls yesterday. Emails were sent last year on this. So if we can speak to the members of the FACE team just to confirm your candidate forum date, your preferred candidate forum date, that would be great to do that as soon as possible, so we can begin to advertise. And Also wanted just to reemphasize the timeline in the campaign. So as the chancellor mentioned, the opening of the application is this Monday, January 13th, which will go through February 16th. And then we will have our candidate forums will run from February 26th through April 24th. And then the voting period will be from April 25th through May 13th. Once again, we are looking to spread the word on the campaign as wide and far as we can. You will see in the next few days, next week, like right now, schools have received materials this week on the campaign, banners, flyers, informational materials to share with their parents. We are also going to have our bus ads, as well. You'll see advertisements both in the public sphere, on bus ads, and some video advertisements as well. We want to make sure that this opportunity is definitely available, and that everyone knows about it and that everyone participates. We definitely want maximum participation because, as we know, if there's maximum participation in the parent leader space, our school system is exceptionally better. And so we want to do that. Also, want to mention some of the outreaches we have had so far, and I want to thank these partners. We had various presentations at the borough service cabinets for the borough president's offices, so I really want to thank all the borough president's offices for their support. We presented at the Staten Island Borough Service Cabinet on the campaign in December, the Queensboro Service Cabinet in December, the Brooklyn Service Cabinet in December, the Bronx Borough Service Cabinet also in December, and the Manhattan Borough Service Cabinet as well. So we are definitely appreciative of our partnership with our colleagues, in city government, and thank them so much for their support. Uh, and just want to mention as well is that we've also had CC election information sessions with our parent coordinators. Parent coordinators are going to be key partners as well as our family leadership coordinators in sharing this information with our families and ensuring that they have the information they need to make a decision on whether to run. But if they do decide not to run, definitely to vote. We want everyone's voices heard in the decision of the leadership of their respective districts, as well as respective citywide councils as well. So with that said, I think that is everything. We really appreciate so much the opportunity to share about the campaign. Once again, we will continue to reach out to you members to confirm the candidate forum dates because that's an essential part of this process. And I'll pause there, Madam Chair, if there are any questions for me.
Yes, please raise your hand. Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Christina.
I am so sorry. I don't know what happened to my brain this morning, but I can't find the raise your hand function. So I rose my hand in real life. Thank you so much for acknowledging me. I just want to say that Jesse spoke a lot about CC elections 1,000 times. That's all he spoke about. And mind you, we're doing other things, but it's really, really, really important that we understand that while FACE does manage the election, these are local elections. These are local. These are local, right? And I know that we want FACE to be everywhere all the time, but we are a team of 40. We are not a team of 1,600. And so we do our very best to build the capacity of all of our local partners in this work. Our FLCs are ready, willing, and able to present anywhere you need them to. Our PCs are also very aware and equipped to present around the CEC elections anywhere you need them to. And if you run into a colleague of ours that does not know, please tell them to come to us. We are more than happy to give them the tools that they need. But these are local. These are very, very local. And we don't know everyone, and you do. You really do. You really do know your communities. You really do know all your schools. You really can just be like, oh, yeah, that person and that person and that person. And those are the things that we need. We send emails, we support them, we do PDs, but as much as you can support us in supporting them is really our hope here and our call to action for all of us. And then again, your role in this work is huge. So while you are all president, council presidents, and or delegates here, your role in this election is enormous because you host the forums that then folks can talk, it can think about who the candidates are in their communities. And I know there's a lot of rumors and past feelings of like CECs versus PTAs. In our world, you guys are just as important in different ways. And in this particular election, you are you are at the core of making sure that, which is what you do really well, make sure that families have access to the information so that they can make the best decisions for themselves and their families and their communities. And so their vote is predicated on what that forum looks like. And so we really need you to reach out to us, check your emails. If you haven't gotten it, send us an email. We will reach out again. We will give you the options. I know it was the holiday, but the sooner you get on the calendar, the better, because then we won't be able to accommodate dates. We hope that we have a bunch of candidates at every one of our districts, which means that we have to coordinate every candidate to show up to the districts. I also want to remind you that folks can, many of you are on CECs. You can apply to be in different CECs, which means that our candidates may be, I'm just going to use Carolyn because she's right here on my on my screen, but she may be running for CEC 6 and also running for CCEL or running for CCSE. And those are different candidate forum times. And so we have to manage over here, make sure that the dates that President's Council selects also work with the candidates that are there so that everyone gets a fair chance, right? And this is tricky. And the sooner we get it, the better we can mastermind this calendar, but all of it is tied to you. So please, please, please reach out. We don't want to be left choosing dates. It doesn't work for you. And when it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for your community. But we can't do it without you telling us. So please, 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 whether you are CSC running for a CEC or not, please reach out to us. Please give us a date so that we can coordinate this and mastermind this very intricate plan. So thank you, Rosa, and thank you all.
Yes, thank you so much. I know I already did mine. Thanks to the reminder from Face yesterday. I have a lot of bunch of emails. Thank you so much for all the Face updates. And I also want to just like move the agenda because we're really behind and I'm so sorry. But I just don't like interrupting people when they're speaking, and I will train myself on that. Um, Right now, we have next on the agenda is the resolution, which let me check if I have it on my screen. I do. Okay. Can everyone see the resolution? I am not able to see anyone, unbelievable. Okay. Can everyone see the resolution?
Not
Thumbs
yet,
up,
Rosa.
please.
Not yet, Rosa. It
Hmm.
shows that you're sharing your screen, but it's blank.
Okay, let me do it again. Amazing technology. No comment. Okay, let's try this again. And by the way, this resolution was already sent out. Can you let me know, Randy, now?
Yes, now we see it.
Yay, perfect. Thank you so much. This resolution is pretty simple. It's in the title. This is a resolution by us, CPAC, urging the DOE to implement a multi-year plan that will provide all New York City students with the benefits of smaller class sizes. Please, please, please. This was sent already 3 times, maybe. I am not going to read everything. I'm just going to go to our ask as CPAC We want obviously smaller classes because it will benefit all children. And okay, I may have to do a real quick just summary. It is on my screen. Whereas in June 2022, the state passed a law requiring New York City to phase in class size caps over 5 years to no more than 20 students per class in grades K to 3, no more than 23 students per class in grades 4th to 8th, and no more than 25 students per class in high school, except for physical education and performing arts, to be capped at 40 students per class. All of these, you guys already have it and you guys already know it. The DOE controls enrollment in an inequitable, non-transparent fashion, forcing overcrowding on some schools while other schools are allowed to limit their enrollment despite receiving hundreds of maybe thousands of applications, enabling them to cap their class sizes at a much lower levels. Where our DOE already caps enrollment if necessary to meet with UFT contractual class size level. So it isn't clear why they should not cap enrollment to allow schools to meet the class size mandates. Whereas the DOE has made little efforts to build enough schools, even in the most overcrowded areas where there are a few underutilized schools, and refuses to say where 70% of school seats funded will be sited at the district, sub-district, or grade level, although an accelerated plan for school expansion and construction will be necessary to meet the required cuts. So we heard from Cora, they are already constructing, believe, buildings, she said. This was just like the new update. BE resolved that we, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council, urge the DOE to allocate at least 1/3 of the funding needed next year to meet the class size cap over the next 3 years, so that the ramping up of the hiring and recruiting of teachers can proceed in an orderly and rational way. Be it resolved that we, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council, urge the DOE to allow our school or our districts to cap enrollment at lower levels starting next year, especially if they are underutilized school nearby, which would provide important benefits to students at all types of schools. Be it resolved that there should be no permanent exemptions granted to over-enrolled or overcrowded schools, but the DOE should provide all schools with the space required for small classes through adjusting enrollment or accelerating and expanding the new school construction. Be it resolved, the DOE shall be required to produce an actual multi-year class size demonstrating how sufficient funding and space will be provided over the next 3 years to allow all New York City students, schools, and students to benefit from smaller classes that they need and deserve. Today is January 9th. We've read the resolution. You guys have it in your email. We will be voting on this today. Does anyone have any objections? Please raise your hand. Raise your hand. Say, I object to this amazing resolution. We'll record it for the record. Otherwise, we can do a roll call. Yes, District 26.
I'm sorry. Yes, I had something to say for 1 minute before we do the resolution. Would that be permitted?
Is that about the resolution?
Yes, yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually at the animal hospital, so I'm sorry. Just be 1 minute, guys. Thank you. Okay, sorry, Rosa. Okay, so I would just like to say, representing 28 schools and over 29,000 students in District 26, I cannot in good conscience agree with this resolution. While 26 enrollment has declined by 8%, we are still over-enrolled and our schools must know, especially our high schools, our local high schools. We are in need, according to the Blue Book, of almost 1,000 seats district-wide on an elementary level of 962 seats, high schools, over 2,396. There are currently 18 buildings in District 26. Even though enrollment has decreased, that currently have over 100% utilization, with 7 of these buildings over 120% utilization, using the examples of both Cardozo High School and Francis Lewis that are scheduled to use TCU's temporary classroom units. With all this being said, the resolution does not speak on the accountability of the SCA and what would be the plan to help districts like District 26 so that our students and children, like my own, do not have to travel over 2 hours every day for an equitable education, or our students within schools to have almost 3,000 students on any given day. Thank you very much, Rosa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, District 26, Adriana. Yes. District 24, sorry.
Yes, how you do? I have to piggyback off what D26 just said. D24 is one of the largest districts in the city. We represent over 43 schools between elementary and intermediate. Our schools are at 112% capacity. If this plan were to go into effect, we've already rolled through the whole scenario. Our kids would be sent to D14 in Brooklyn to meet this standard. To put our students going cross district from Corona to D14 in Brooklyn, as our district is a transportation desert. In some areas, we have no transportation for parents to get there. This would eliminate parents' engagement in these schools. They would not be able to attend PTA functions as they do not have vehicles. It'd be very costly for them to use cabs. And there's nowhere to build in our district. We have sites, as we mentioned earlier, about working partnerships with real estate developers. We have that already in effect. With those seats coming online, we'll be down to 108% capacity. And our D75.
Thank you. District 24, are you opposing to the resolution?
Yes, we oppose it.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other hand raised opposing the resolution? Okay. Randy, can we do a roll call so we can be more equitable? I do have District 24 and District 26 opposing the resolution. Thank you so much. Randy?
Okay, so you just want me to do a yay or nay?
Yes, please.
Okay. District 1, are you for the resolution or again or opposed? Ashley, District 1? Okay, District 2?
Yay. Sorry, I was on mute.
District 3?
Yay.
District 4? District 4? District 5? District 6?
Yay.
District 7? 7? District 8? Oh, Erica, I had to drop off. District 12? District 14?
Yay.
District 17? District 20?
Yes.
21?
Yes.
22? 24 was opposed. 25? 25? 26 is opposed.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. This is 25.
Oh,
I'm I'm opposed.
okay. 26, Adriana was opposed, correct?
Correct, opposed.
Okay, Priscilla? District 29?
Yes, I had a question. No one's acknowledging me in the chat before I confirm. The contingency is, will the classroom size reduction law be able to be modified over the years based on the need?
The class size law modified?
The classroom size reduction, will it be able to be modified depending on the needs and the concerns of the schools? That's the question I had asked. I was going to reach out to SCA, my contact, but because I didn't get any feedback.
It's New York State law, so it's
No, not that. Is over time, as the school has different needs, will the school be able to apply for modification over that period up until 2027? Or is it a one-time application grant?
So they have to comply by 2026, I believe, or 2027. So
2027.
2027. So there's no up until 2027, they're supposed to be getting the class size, they're supposed to implement the class size as much as they can, as much as physically possible. They do know that some schools aren't completely able to do it as of yet. That's why they're giving them this time to get it done. But after that, there's no modification. That's just state law.
Right, and the resolution does say we urging the DOE to come up with a plan, over these 3 years. That's why we want them to actually have a plan, show us that plan and how it's going to work and benefit our children.
So then I'm going to oppose.
Okay.
Okay, so 29 is opposed. 30. Becca, 30? Okay, 31?
Opposed.
District 75? Rima, D75?
Abstain.
Josephine, you wrote in the chat, can you change? You want to change your vote from yes to opposed? Okay, I'm changing her. She said yes. Sorry. Staten Island High School?
I oppose.
Queens High School?
I oppose.
Manhattan High School?
Yes.
I'm going to abstain. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 opposed and 2 abstentions. So the resolution does not pass.
Okay. Very unfortunate because, it's literally just asking the DOE to provide us with a plan. But I respect everyone's opinion, and that's why we are here, because it's not just one person working, it's all of us, all of our body. Yes, Carolyn.
Hi, I just want to make one quick statement based off of this resolution. And as Dr. Melendez did mention earlier, I am on my CEC, and it has been a very, very interesting 2 years, to say the least. I just want to encourage every single president here to really make that effort to meet with your CECs and go to their meetings, go virtual. And not only because you don't know or you do know, simply because that advocating portion of it all allows your parents as well in your schools to see that this information is there and these platforms that we're on are the advocacy spaces for us to make the changes that much more, implemented with the elected officials and the government in general. So I'm not sure if everybody is doing that, but I would just encourage to really be part of those CEC meetings so that we can all collectively see resolutions like this and actually see that it's more of a suggested point to get the DOE to show us more transparency, more than yay or nay on whether or not we're agreeing to a certain amount of students being in a classroom. It's more about transparency. We're not getting all the information, and we need more information. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Caroline, because I also want to echo what you just said. You know what I mean? It's not like just my high school, my kid's school is overcrowded or anything like that, but it's about all the children. We have to advocate. We're here because of all the children, but I do respect and thank you all for your voice. And we are gonna move on. The resolution did not pass. We are gonna move on to the minutes. The minutes already were sent out, and I will just quickly show it on my screen for anyone that wants to see it. If I can find it. Okay, please let me know if it's showing. Thumbs up or yes. Please unmute just to say yes.
Yep, it's showing.
Thank you so much. Okay. These are the minutes from last month. It was already sent out. If you see any discrepancies or want to object, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we are going to adopt them. Can we have a motion to adopt the minutes? Do we need a minute, a second to review them? It's basically a couple of pages of all the hard work that Ashley did. Okay. Waiting on that motion. If anyone is wants to unmute, say, hey, Rosa, I would like to make a motion to adopt the December minutes. That would be awesome.
Rosa, it's
Rosa. Oh, go
District
ahead, Adriana.
26. I'm sorry, District 26 motion to adopt.
District
Thank you so
25 seconds.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Does anyone object? Okay, the minutes are adopted. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, and I believe that is the last thing on our oh, what am I talking about? I'm gonna pass it back to Randy. Randy, do you want to share our a discussion on the forum that we will be having?
The training?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at either February 3rd or February 5th to do a training for President's Council executive boards. So this would be a virtual meeting. It would not be live streamed. So this way you can feel comfortable asking questions that you may not be sure of and don't want to have everyone here, everyone out on YouTube land, hearing, that you might not understand something or know something that you weren't trained on. So we're trying to see February 3rd or February 5th, if a day meeting or an evening meeting would work better. You'd be able to invite your executive boards so that you could all get this information at the same time. So we have some members that didn't respond 100% if day or night would work for them. Does day or night work better for anyone? You could write in the chat, day, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning is better or 6 o'clock in the evening is better, so that we can make sure that we have, we want to make sure that you're able to attend.
Right. Thank you so much. We while we look, maybe we can send a Google form to once we are set on the day, maybe we can send a Google form to the CPAC members to see which date is better and works better for all of us. Thank you, Randy. So now, if you see on the screen, I am unsure why I can't move it. Okay. If you see my screen, the our monthly meeting dates are on your left. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Our next meeting will be February 13 at 9:30. And yes, this is something that I wanted to also speak on, the CPAC standing committees. Understanding that the link to sign up, it's on the website, cpacnyc.com. And what is CPAC standing committees and what do we do and everything. The meetings schedule are defined and scheduled by the committee chair. It's not myself. I am automatically a member. Members of the general public may serve on committees and can vote on that committee for which they serve, but you must sign up. CPAC members are all welcome to join the committees at any time. All committees shall select their own chairperson, and when necessary, only when necessary, the chair of CPAC shall appoint a chair to any committee. Like if it's not working, if they're not, it's not happening, or like they graduated, just they're too busy, no problem. Okay. So I know that capacity building we met um Tuesday. There was maybe two people. Um, so we're not having CPAC members join, and I understand it's busy, New Year, everyone has their things to do, but please make it your business, put it in your calendar because your voice is needed. Communications meets on the first Tuesday of the month. We met on January 7th. High school, very well attended. It meets on the first Monday. We met on January 6th. Legislative, I'm not sure if they met. I did not receive any link. Multilingual language learners, yes, we met on January 7th. Very interested meeting. We should have some feedback, hopefully by next meeting. Special education meets on January 7th. I'm unsure if they met. I will find out, but look out for the next date on February 6th, March 6th, April 3rd, May, and June 10th. I forgot the May date. Title I meets quarterly. They did meet. Jimmy is the chair. Please join. We need to hear from Title I members and CPAC. Please take all the information back to your districts. The wellness meets on the second Wednesday of the month. I am unsure if they met. I will find out. And the alumni meets quarterly. We did not have a lot of people. We literally were like three, counting Shirley, myself, and and someone else that I totally forgot their name, but very, very involved. Let my laptop. Okay. So we are having just a little regulations of what is the Chancellor's regulations AC60. We received emails, and I personally received texts of, and I know that Georgette, the FLC for District 21, basically said all of this. And we just want to encourage everyone to please, please, please read Chancellor's Regulations A660. It has a tons of information. If you're not able to understand it for any reason, this is your forum. We are supposed to help all the districts president's council and the borough's president's council continue guiding their own constituents. So please let us know how we can support you.
Rosa, I just wanted to add that for president's councils and PAs and PTAs, you should know that if you're not holding your monthly meetings or you're not conducting official PTA business within 60, like for 60 days, you can go into a cease to function. And then the superintendent for president's council or the principal for PTA or PA would then reestablish a PTA. So you want to make sure that you're holding at least at a minimum your monthly president's council or PTA meetings. And if you're having trouble getting quorum, please talk with your parent coordinator or your FLC. Maybe you can get a speaker to come out or a workshop or something to piggyback on to just get, more parents involved that way too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Randy. And one of the things that I've heard before is like parents resigning, parents quitting. And I please don't resign, don't quit. Reach out. We are here, available, and we need you. Like we cannot do this work without you, like, because we cannot be in every single district, in every single school. We support the President's Council of every single district and every single borough. So please let us know how can we support you for you to support your own PAPTAs. Let us know. We may not have all the answers, but we have Chancellor's regulations that does have all the answers. So what is a school leadership team? And I'm just gonna, you see it on your screen, and it is on CPAC, and it is on DOE, and it is on the Chancellor's regulations. What is SLT? Is the New York State education law, yes, it's a law, requires that every New York City public school to have a SLT, in addition to the Chancellor's regulations, obviously, which establishes guidelines to ensure the formation of effective SLTs in New York City public schools. SLTs cannot work without a PAPTA executive board. And then Title I. Let us not speak about Title I. Okay. President's Council. What do we do? Because I'm also the Manhattan High School's President's Council president. What do we do? President's Council are independent parent leadership organizations. We must provide 10 days notice, 10 days calendar days notice, which includes obviously the weekends. We meet with CEC. Please meet with your district CEC. Attend their meeting. You're supposed to be working together. We know that your work is very valuable. You must be busy and everything, but please, please, please attend your district CECs and citywide council on high schools. What is a PAPTA? Every New York City public school is required by the New York State law, education law in New York City Department of Education's Chancellor's regulation to have either a PA or PTA, and all parents of children in that specific school are automatically eligible members. Yes, you don't have to pay. You don't look at the parents, the PTA dues as mandatory. It's suggested, but please encourage your parents to attend. Make it exciting, make it informative and valuable. Believe me, your parents will be thanking you. Also, PAPTAs are autonomous and independent. And by the way, if it wasn't already set, the interim financial report is due January 31st, which is like 2-3 weeks from now. So please make sure that your treasurer for your PAPTA has it in their hands. It's not giving me my lore. Okay. So lastly, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council is comprised of presidents or designees of the President's Council representing 32 districts, 5 high school boroughs, and District 75, who were elected by our constituents to advocate for the 1.1 million New York City public schools and their families. CPAC works as a team to identify concerns, trends, and policy issues and to advise the Chancellor on DOE policies. Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council ensures that every single parent's voice is heard. We collaborate with different stakeholders, as you saw today, and every single month, and work together to provide high quality and useful information. We are always striving for excellence, equity, and opportunity for all. And we need you. Please do not resign. Let us know how we can work together to support your district, your borough, so you can support your constituents. And with that, would love a motion to adjourn our amazing meeting.
A motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
District 6 and District 2, thank you so much. And everyone, have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.